Hi, second grade Miss Frybuckle here. Today we need your pencil and a notebook or a piece of paper. We're going to be talking about a strategy today called rereading. When you reread, it means to read again. The prefix re means again, and our root word is read again. When reading informational texts that have a lot of information or facts, you may come across words, facts, and explanations that you do not understand. Rereading can help you understand and remember key facts and details from whatever you read. Sometimes you may need to reread more than once, and that's okay. It's really important that you understand what you're reading, so sometimes you might have to reread it 4 or 5 times. And make sure you go slow when rereading. Don't rush through it. It's not about how quickly you read something, it's about what you understand about something. Okay, so now that we know a little bit about rereading, let's try it out. We have 2 informational texts today, one about the Arctic fox and one about jellyfish. We're going to read our text, maybe reread if we get a little confused while we are reading. And then we have some comprehension questions to answer that are probably going to make us go back to the text and reread a section if we can't remember. All right, I'm going to go ahead and read our first text on the Arctic fox. Arctic fox lives in the Arctic regions of the Northern Hemisphere. It lives in Northern Europe, Northern Asia, and North America. Here are some interesting facts about the Arctic fox. Ooh, it just told me where the Arctic fox lives. I need to reread that so I can remember. It lives in Northern Europe, Northern Asia, and North America. Okay, let's continue reading. What are some of the Arctic fox's adaptations? An Arctic fox has many adaptations that help it live in the cold climate. It has a thick fur coat that is brown in the summer and white in the winter to help it blend into the snow. The Arctic fox also has fur on the bottom of its paws to help it walk on the ice. I'm a little confused about what an adaptation is. So I know that it's talking about what the animal looks like. Let me read that again. An Arctic fox has many adaptations that help it live in the cold climate. Okay, so adaptations are whatever the animal has that helps it live in the temperature that it lives in. Okay. The Arctic fox also has great hearing. It can hear small animals moving under the snow. Then it jumps toward the animal and punches through the snow to grab its prey. Then it jumps towards the animal and punches through the snow to grab its prey. Okay. What do Arctic foxes eat? Arctic foxes normally eat small animals. These small animals include lemmings, voles, hares, fish, and birds. I'm going to read that list again so I don't forget. Lemmings, voles, hares, fish, and birds. They are also scavengers and will eat dead animals that the larger predators leave behind. Arctic foxes also eat bird eggs, seaweed, and berries. How big are Arctic foxes? Both male and female Arctic foxes are different sizes. The male Arctic fox is about 22 inches in length and weighs about 7 pounds. The female Arctic fox is about 20 inches in length and weighs about 6 pounds. Arctic fox's tail is about 12 inches. Their tail is 12 inches. Okay, so I reread a little bit when we did our first read. Ooh, let's see if we can remember. We have 5 questions. Go ahead and mark down your paper 1 through 5. Let's see if we can remember this. And if we have to reread, that's okay, so we can get it right. Number 1, where do Arctic foxes live? Well, I did rebrief this, and I know it's in the Northern Hemisphere. I don't really remember. Let's go back up to the top. Let's reread this. Live in the Arctic regions of the Northern Hemisphere. It lives in Europe, Northern Asia, and North America. Let's get that copy down. Northern Europe, North America, and Northern Asia. Those are some really important details. I did reread it one time when I was reading it, but I had to go back up and reread it to remember, and that's okay. Number 2, how does an Arctic fox adapt to the cold climate? There were a bunch of different examples. For number 2, see if you can think of 2 adaptations the Arctic fox uses. Go ahead, if you need to, you can reread these 2 paragraphs. But think of 2 adaptations the Arctic fox has and get them written down. Pause the video to do so. Click play when you're ready to review it. All right, after rereading that paragraph, I chose the Arctic fox has fur on the bottom of its paws to walk on ice, and the Arctic fox can hear animals in the snow. Oh, and after rereading that, how do Arctic foxes use their good hearing? Since I just reread that part, I know it's the Arctic foxes can hear animals in the snow when they are hunting. A little bit more detail than I have up at the top. Okay. 4 and 5, what are 2 things that Arctic foxes eat? Let's go back up to what they eat. I'm going to reread that for us. Arctic foxes normally eat small animals. These small animals include lemmings, voles, hares, fish, and birds. They are also scavengers and will eat dead animals that the larger predators leave behind. Arctic foxes also eat birds, eggs, seaweed, and berries. So down here, put 2 things that they eat after rereading that. I'm going to say fish and berries. And you can put down anything else that was on our list. And our last question, how long is an Arctic fox's tail? Do you remember this was in the last paragraph? Let's scroll back up and reread how big are Arctic foxes. Both male and female Arctic foxes are different sizes. The male Arctic fox is about 22 inches in length and weighs about 7 pounds. The female Arctic fox is about 20 inches in length and weighs about 6 pounds. The Arctic fox's tail is about 12 inches in length. So how long is it? The Arctic fox's tail is 12 inches. Right. So in order to answer those 5 questions, we did have to reread a couple times after we read the informational text. And that's okay because we know we got all of our answers right and we know that we understand what happened in the text. We're going to do one more reading today about jellyfish. Jellyfish are sea creatures. They have a body that is a lot like jelly. Jellyfish are not actually fish. They are animals that have long tentacles but do not have a brain. They are animals that have long tentacles but do not have a brain. Okay. There are many different kinds of jellyfish. Some kinds of jellyfish sting and some do not. Jellyfish can be bigger than a person or as small as a pinhead. I don't know if I understand that. They can be bigger than a person or as small as a pinhead. Okay, that helped me understand it a little bit better. Many jellyfish are transparent. I don't know what that word means. Many jellyfish are transparent. They can be very hard to see. They're transparent. Oh, it means that they're clear. However, there are also some that are brightly colored. Jellyfish are plankton. This means they drift in the water. They are not good swimmers. A bloom is a large group of jellyfish. Some blooms can have millions of jellyfish. Okay, there were a lot of facts in there. I just have 3 questions that we are going to fill out today. Number 1, jellyfish have blank. I remember I reread that section. It said that they have tentacles but not a brain, remember? I'm going to head ahead and get that copy down. They have tentacles but not a brain. And I remember that because I reread that. Pause the video if you need to get this copy down. Next one, jellyfish are, I don't really remember. Let me scroll up. I see that right here, jellyfish are plankton. This means they drift through the water. All right, so let's down here, after rereading, we can say jellyfish are plankton that drift through the water. And our last one, jellyfish can. I know jellyfish can drift through the water, but let me look back up and see if I can find anything else. Oh, I reread this and I didn't really remember it until I looked back up at this paragraph. Jellyfish can be bigger than a person or as small as a pinhead. Now I remember. Jellyfish can be bigger than a person or as small as a pinhead. Okay, so in order to fill out this graphic organizer, we definitely had to reread because there was a lot of information about jellyfish in this section. And sometimes even what we reread, I had to go back up and look at. So just as a reminder, rereading anytime you have an informational text or really anything you don't understand is really important. Okay, so make sure you go slow. If you have to reread it a few times, that's okay. What's important is that you understand what the text is saying. Great job today. I'll see you soon.